Hey everyone, Fatty from Pack a Punch Traders here. Gonna go over my couple of losses today. Some misplays that were way better than what I was looking at, as well as the top plays for tomorrow, February 14th. Let's go over IVDA. This was in the watch list, but never traded it. Didn't shape up perfectly, and you'll see why. Something we always talk about. Volume, volume, volume. This one did not have what it takes, and it did the two things I always talk about that a play could do if it's breaking out or just moving in general without a strong support behind it, enough force on the demand side if it's trying to push higher. So here you get a little breakout. We're looking at 220. Gaps up a little bit. Looking great. Makes a higher low. Holds a VWAP. Fantastic. Holds open price. But as you can see, not much demand is coming through. And I misread that. This morning I was really focused on this intraday while I was looking at a couple other plays, and it was just one of those where I was focused a lot more on the price action compared to the volume. And good thing I didn't take it. I was in KPRX, but here we are. This is a great example. It tries to fight, push higher, but ultimately not enough pressure, and buyers disappear, shorts take over. Whatever the case is, there just isn't any demand sustaining and able to prop the price higher and squeeze shorts out. So that's why I always talk about demand is key. That is what drives prices higher. Without strong demand, expect something like this where it's either gonna plummet and just kill the play, or it's going to move, but it will be a slow, choppy grind, and that's what we got here. Two things. Kind of funny to see that. But the main plays that worked out nicely today: TOPS, solid open price and VWAP acclaim, low float, low market cap play, doing strong volume as you can see here. Failed to break down, shorts got trapped, very light selling pressure on the dip, showing it's trying to push lower, but not able to really have that force to hammer it down. And then, what do you call it? It holds up, and buyers come through. Shorts get squeezed when you get the confirmation on the higher low here. That's when you really get the strong push. But even this one, in the low to mid 150s as it's reclaiming open price and VWAP, solid quick snipe opportunity. But if you're able to be patient and stick through to see what each top does, because just because it rips and it shows some topping action doesn't mean that's the end. It can still continue, make a higher low. Gotta wait and see how the dips get held up, how aggressive they are, what the selling pressure is like behind it. And here you get a solid top around pre-market highs, and what happens is very light selling pressure. So continues to hold up, shows some strength, and I think that's when any shorts that were in here really got scared out, and that gave this move to the high ones, two-ish region. Then there was MTC, another open price VWAP claim, very aggressive play here, 50% in a matter of 10 minutes or so. So you get a nice rip higher, failure to break down, and a reclaim of key prices, and that scares out any short sellers or sellers who are looking to continue to sell their position and hammer this lower, possibly. They get a little scared out as it's going to rip. Might as well sell at higher prices. So, very nice to see a couple of these plays work out today, but I was not on the winning side of any of my trades, or both of them rather. Here's tops. See pre-market highs right around the 169, 170 area. So that makes some sense why it would top out there. I have some hard time there for a moment. But as you can see, not much volume behind this breakout. So there really isn't, although it is seen as a key area because it's breaking out of a new range that it hasn't done in a couple of months. I really want there to be volume, to see it as a key level, because I know people have eyes on it at that point, whether it's somewhere to recognize where any bag holders are selling it as it's coming back. But just recognizing that that's going to be a key area where a lot of people have eyes on it, whether it's long or short. You'll have short sellers trying to bet against it, using that area as resistance. And if it continues to hold up, you can get a nice burst. We were expecting that nice burst out of something like XPON, where they got stuff yesterday right around the key multi-week breakout, 396, 4-ish region. Strong demand yesterday, but didn't come through today. Low float play, but as you can see, it got very choppy throughout the whole day, really. Just having a hard time pushing higher. It did hold up, failed to break down, but maybe just not enough. Who cares if it's buyers or shorts getting squeezed? There's just not enough demand to continually prop this up and squeeze shorts out when it confirms the 4 area. Instead, it showed some topping action, slowed down, got very choppy into the key area. As you can see, this can move. It was a very quick play from the mid 2s to the mid to high 3s yesterday. So this can move. So once this broke past the 375 into the 394 area, it really should have had more volume, should have been more active, but it wasn't. So ended up getting stuffed. But here we are. It's still yet to really break down, even though it didn't break out. It's still holding up. Could still make a higher low. This will be on watch for a top play tomorrow for a reclaim of today's highs. Just that breakout area, whole dollar, half dollar area, key level psychologically. And from there, we'll be looking for a push into next resistance area, really the high 4s, 5-ish region. We'll have some hard time here in the low 4s, as you can go back to August. It's a top of there as well, so makes some sense why it's having such a hard time here in the high 3s, 4-ish area. But if the demand is able to come through and it confirms this area of support, that could give it the force it needs to get it to 5. So that was XPON. Small loss, taking it from 383 when I thought this was holding up. Maybe we would get something. I thought maybe this hold could trigger a short squeeze. It can really scare out any shorts. But ended up being a lower high, what I was buying into. And once we got this choppy garbage near VWAP, I was really just getting impatient. So decided to cut it as it wasn't doing what I wanted. And that's that. Just a $50 loss, 250 shares. I went with a starter. I acknowledged that, the volume just simply wasn't there. Price action wise, not too bad getting to the price levels we want. But you got to combine volume and price action. And that's really the best way to read plays, as well as VWAP. No need to overcomplicate it with many other indicators on the chart. So we'll leave it at that. Not enough demand, runs into a key area, gets choppy. Shouldn't have even really taken this, but at least I pleased my FOMO and didn't go in heavy and just took small size. If it failed, manageable small loss. Then we got KPRX, multi-day bounce. I was very excited for this setup as it held 6 pretty well. The past couple of days just barely broke down. Went over this yesterday's video lesson and got this at 646, got out at 618 when it proved it was just not doing what I want. We got the quick tease of a fake out here, but then instantly comes back. Volume is nowhere to be found. Uses VWAP as resistance, and when it broke past red-green, I was really just getting over it. So cut it at 618, $42 loss there. Nothing significant. If this does work out, I would be hammering it and making up my gains or my losses many times over. So here we are, still holding 6. Today's low was about 610, 609, and when it broke down, all it got to was 6. Continued to hold it. So that could be a good indication of what could come in the near future. If it keeps holding up here around a key area psychologically, decently off the highs, slowing down, having a hard time pushing lower and lower. Let's take a look at the volume here. Yeah, volume's nowhere to be found. It tried to push lower and just couldn't. So this is some decent bottoming action today. We'll see if we get this set up for tomorrow, multi-day bounce. But it just didn't work out today. Not enough demand to squeeze it higher. Um, I guess that was really it. Went over some of the plays I missed. IVDA. I know I'm talking a lot about demand in this video lesson, but that's kind of my takeaway. The 2 plays I took just didn't shape up because of that, and gotta learn from it. There was another play, CGGJJD. We got low float mover. That's the overall chart. Not too bad of a setup here. That break in the low 5s. I wouldn't have seen it then. Seemed like it was pretty low volume at that point. I don't know if it would have showed up on my scanner. Might have, and I just ignored it. But yeah, you got that key area roughly in the high 4s, low 5s. And after that, resistance was around the mid 6s. Ends up topping out here in the mid high 7s where you got some volume and a huge run up there. So nice to see this one push through. This is going to be on watch. I don't think a top play to watch, but something for a possible continuation if it makes 8 a support level and demand comes back. It could really be something. But here we are, just a simple play, breaking a key level, failing to break down, and it gets really aggressive after the confirmation here. That's when people probably get scared out and then lock in their losses or whatever the case is. Just feels the demand push higher. It is what it is. Missed a couple plays. That's part of trading. You're not always gonna be nailing every single trade that's out there. Sometimes you're gonna butcher a perfect setup, and it's gonna hurt you. But it's important to not get emotional. Stick to your patterns. They don't all work out. Just move on and play the game. So, not bad of a day. On to the next. Here's top plays for tomorrow. KPRX, as I mentioned. This will be a top watch for a multi-day bounce. Holding 6 pretty well. Had a hard time pushing lower the past couple of days. Continues to hold 6. And although it's having a hard time pushing higher, it isn't breaking down. So that's encouraging to see. It is a low float play. Just would like to see some demand come back, some dip buyers to prop this up. Give us a nice little perk that could scare the shorts out and have them locking in their gains as they're likely in this thing from the 8s, mid high 7s. So they're up 20-30%. If it fails to keep pushing lower and you get a bit of demand perk, that might scare them out, and that'll be the momentum that we need for the bounce play. So KPRX, waiting for that bounce. Then we got XPON. Crucial that demand comes back. But if it does, and we're still making higher lows the way this has been the past couple of days, that 4 break will be very nice to see for a push to the high 4s. I'll take a quick 10-15%. Won't get too greedy. Small loss on it today, so even if I make my average 250, 300, I'm making up for my loss big time, and that's all we're trying to do here. Make sure our gains are bigger than losses, and you walk away profitable. Let it happen over time. Let your singles add up, and that is the recipe. What's next? SQL. Here we have a multi-day bounce. This thing ended up having its own bounce that ripped up. What was that? 150% or so. So now that this, in my eyes, has a new batch of sellers in it, topping out here in the low twos. Incredible bounce that it had, but at the same time, like I said, everyone got squeezed, but then you got a whole bunch of new shorts getting back into this thing. Now we're well off of the highs. Would it be shocked to see a play like this give another bounce play? So, you know the deal, how we look for the high day break after some consolidation, failure to break down. As you can see today, as we learned, they don't always work out. Example of that, LIXT on Thursday, but ended up bringing that back with LIXT win on Friday. So sometimes it's hard to time out. It takes some time to bottom out. Doesn't go straight up and straight down. A couple days sideways occasionally. So we'll see how this sets up. But in my eyes, this is a multi-day bounce, and we'll play it. I know sometimes I hesitate with the ones that absolutely take off for another 150%. But when I was looking at this chart and all that volume that's behind it, all that selling, and it's down roughly 50% from these highs, could be due for a bounce. I'll look at it again. And lastly, AVRO, looking for a bounce as well. I would like this to push lower some more, but we'll take what we get. If it holds, it holds. Monster move from 90 to 220. So got that huge run up. And now looking for the fade to do whatever it needs to do. Who knows how low it goes. But just wait and look for high day breaks, VWAP holding as support rather than getting little fake outs and using it as resistance. So just looking for small momentum shifts compared to the fade. Made a video lesson recently about that. Had a couple decent multi-day bounce trades, and that's all I'm looking for. Simple differences in its price action and its volume. Is it having a hard time pushing lower and lower? Is each new low getting tighter? Is the volume behind each new low fading? Or maybe does it get absolutely exhausted and it comes right back, showing some bottoming as well? So just look for differences that could be bottoming, just a momentum shift compared to the backside. Sorry for another long video lesson. It's pretty late. I know I'm rambling. I'm talking and I sometimes feel like I'm not making sense. I should do these a bit earlier. So my apologies there. But yeah, takeaway from today, volume is king. Nothing can move without it. And if it does, watch out, as we saw with IPDA, as well as it's okay to miss a play. You're not going to nail them all. Going to make some misreads. A good setup that you might see ends up not working out. Whatever the case, it's part of the game. So, hope everyone had a great day, and we'll catch you all tomorrow. If I didn't mention, my internet hasn't been really working for Tradecaster and YouTube streaming, so I'm just going to be recording my trades and posting them here on YouTube. So if you've been following on Tradecaster and looking forward to the live streams, I'm going to be taking a break from that and just recording them, as the quality for that is way better.